Introducing Next Gen 50, the new home of school rugby.
Well, where does this come from?
Covering everything the school game has to offer in both the north and southern hemispheres.
Oh, that's a great tackle! It's not good enough! 1-2, skip a few and with the wheels!
Highlighting tomorrow's stars, Next Gen 50 will be bringing you live games and a regular update of all the news and in-depth views on the global game.
What's a kick? Well, where did he come from and how did that happen?
All your school rugby, all in one place. This is Next Gen 50.
Hello and welcome to Sherborne School for the Under-18 Schools Cup quarter-final against Harrow. This is a massive one this afternoon. The Schools Cup, that prestigious tournament, been going since the 1980s. Neither of these two sides has won it before, but they have a massive opportunity this afternoon here in Dorset, and what a fine afternoon it is. It's stayed dry for us, which is something I say that as the drizzle comes down. It's in fact not stayed dry, but I am in a warm, dry place, and alongside me is Will Senior, whose twin brother Ollie is playing out on the left wing today for Sherborne School. Will, really good to have you along. You looking forward to this one?
Thank you very much for having me. Yeah, I think it's been the talk of the school for the past, week after that victory over Camford. I think all the boys will be turning up after their house matches, so there'll be a big second half crowd. But I think all the boys are pretty pumped to,
And that is what we love about schools rugby, isn't it? It's the way the crowd builds through the afternoon, everyone coming in from their house matches as Harrow run onto the field here from this incredible pavilion here at Sherborne School. I've been looking around the pavilion, seeing all of the wonderful, wonderful team sheets from days gone by, and looking at today's team sheet for Sherborne. They are led at number 8 by Arthur Green, in the back row with him, Harry Bedford and Lucas Gardner. In the second row, Jago Cable and Will Wolseley Brinton. Up front, Tiff Austin, Felix Northover and Freddie Cole. And then in the back line, well, Will Parry is co-captain. He's at outside centre alongside Cassius McLaughlin. In the halfbacks, Charlie Collins and Ollie Carr-Smith, whose brother Tom you may remember from previous Schools Cup encounters. And then in the back three, Ollie Senior, of course, alongside Max Dowling and Tom Heaver at the back. Ollie Small, Max DeRieg, Archie McKenzie and Ollie Charles on the bench. Head coach Chris Smith for Harrow, who will be kicking off any moment now. Well, they are led by their scrum half, Harvey Douglas. Fly half Archie Chatwin, and in the centres, Ivan Thale and Oliver Newell. Back row, Charlie Cross, Hugo Anderson and Willie Nasuli. And then in the front row, Lucas Edstrom, Buster Wilkins and Nick Martin, with Max Ferreira, skippering them from the second row, alongside Toby Fernyhoe with Kepu Tuipulotu, Angus Walker and Ollie Sterling in the back row. Their subs are Philip Truscott, Danny Neal and Seb Phillips. And so, kick-off. Well, it's greasy out there after me thinking it was dry. It's certainly not, as the rain comes down, making me eat my words, and the spillage off the kick-off gives Harrow the opportunity to start the game with a scrum. And look out for their scrum half and vice-captain, Harvey Douglas. And I tell you what, this gives me an opportunity to talk about Harvey Douglas. What a committed man he is. He had an Oxford interview online yesterday morning to study chemistry. He stayed overnight down here in Sherborne, took that interview in Sherborne in order to be available for this game this afternoon. That is how much this means to these lads out there. And this is a big, big encounter. In with the carry then, it's number 8, Ollie Sterling. Expect a big performance from him. He's been big all year for Harrow School. Harrow, of course, have only lost just the one game all season. And that a very, very tight encounter against Whitgift. But Sherborne have turned it over. And Carr Smith looks deep, skids the ball into touch. And a good early settler that for Sherborne School. And will Tom Carr-Smith at fly half, you know, we've been hearing plenty about him. Sounds like one to look out for.
Yeah, I think especially with today, you know, the conditions, a bit wet, like you said, a bit greasy. It will really suit him with his kicking game, just to pin it back in the territory. We saw, you know, in the first round of the Cup against Coulston's, and a bit again against Camford, just the ability to, you know, get it and then kick it into touch, gain territory, and then apply the pressure.
And as Ollie says, this cup run has been a big part of the Sherborne season. In many ways, it's been where the momentum of their year has come. And you can see, look at the forward pack driving over. This really is what their season has been built around. Reached the semi-finals, of course, back in 2020, the very last game of the school season it was, in fact, before the final was called off due to COVID. So they will want to go one better than their counterparts did back in that March 2020 afternoon, the heady days in a pre-COVID world. Sherborne getting it through the hands. Now it's out to Parry. Out now to his fullback, Tom Heavens. Just hauled down and into touch. The Harrow drift defence just about doing enough there. A strong start this from Sherborne. See Heaver possibly just drifting that pass forward. But Max Dowling just tackled into touch anyway. Comes to nothing.
Okay. Give. Same again, same numbers, yeah.
And a shout out actually to our cameramen, to volunteers from Sherborne School who are doing an absolutely fantastic job so far. And it is a big point of pride in our productions that we like to give as many people from as many schools an opportunity to try their hand at different things, while our production team downstairs guide them through every step of the way. But on the field is where the action really is, and it's Carr-Smith who's darting and weaving with the loose ball. Sherborne on the attack early doors. Bouncing this way and that.
No, no! Stay. Stay down, stay down.
Charlie Collins playing at 9, feeding his forward pack. Now he looks to the back line. Carr-Smith heaves it up in the air, a good option in these conditions. High and hanging, but well taken by Charlie Cross, the Harrow fullback.
They're in front of you, players are in front of you.
And Cross claimed the mark. I apologise, no, penalty it was. Players in front of Carr-Smith on the chase, just a bit over eager, but I think we may see a bit more of that play this afternoon.
Sorry.
Already on the far side of the pitch, we can see things starting to fill up. A few unhappy looking faces after our team has taken up the sheltered pavilion here on the near side.
What do you want, lads?
Squint throw at the line out though, and Harrow opt for the scrum.
We'll give you some anyway, okay, but not that much. We'll get you.
A quiet day for your brother so far, Will.
Okay.
Hoping he can get his hands on the ball sometime soon.
Yes, and I think our parents are here as well. So hopefully, you know, the ball can get shifted out, Tim on the left wing, and obviously points for him and Sherborne to take us through.
Crouch! Bind!
Meantime,
Sit!
Harvey Douglas pops the ball in to the feet of the number 8. And it's stabbed through by Archie Chatwin, who's stepped up from fullback to play at fly half this afternoon in the absence of the usual fly half, Cam Ellis. He's away on London Irish duty at the moment. The age-old tussle between school and academy, denying a couple of players this opportunity this afternoon.
5 called, yeah.
Sherborne, of course, well linked with the Bath Academy. There's a couple of members of the Bath staff in the crowd today, keeping an eye on a few of their charges. Harrow, of course, in that sort of Middlesex catchment area. So a few boys with London Irish, a few boys with Saracens. Meantime, they're thrown to the tail of the line out and they set up the maul, but Sherborne respond nicely. And will have the put in at the scrum. Fantastic work from Sherborne. Open side, Harry Bedford, one of those Bath Academy players we've been talking about, looking like he was right in the middle of it there.
Okay, next one's against you for any afters, okay? It's going to go tick-tock like that.
And they make decent yardage up, almost to the 10-metre line, Sherborne. This Schools Cup quarter-final, the second one so far. Yesterday we saw Barnard Castle knocking Oakham out. They're the first ones through to the semi-final.
Do it again.
And next week our live cameras will bring you Trinity against Berkhamsted in Croydon.
Okay.
Berkhamsted, of course, unbeaten, and on Saturday with a chance to go for the Daily Mail Trophy title as well.
Okay, so let's have it up, okay? So you go slower, you go quicker.
And then, of course, the final quarter-final, which is Kirkham Grammar School against Bedford, which is actually taking place tomorrow evening. A huge game, that one. Sherborne and Harrow, though, playing for the chance to join Barnard Castle in the semi-finals, and Sherborne with all the early running in this game so far. We said Tiff Austin on the charge, but it's turned over by Harrow.
Still playing Harrow, still playing your scrum advantage. Still playing scrum advantage. Okay, little knock.
We'll come back for the scrum.
Okay, captain. Okay, I've just given a penalty over there for after the whistle.
Things getting a little spicy, and no wonder. It means so much to these young lads. This, of course, for whichever side is knocked out, it's going to be their last game of the season. So even more riding on it than usual. And well, what's the mood been like? You know, a year without rugby last year. You know, difficult circumstances, obviously, for every school. But what's it been like having the game back and having a run like this? It must create an amazing atmosphere.
Yes, I think it's just been reflected in the last week. You know, all of that, you know, anticipation. Obviously, I think it was 29 season. Didn't quite make it, but having that, you know, National Cup run gives it, you know, all that year's wait, just more anticipation, more hype, and all the boys are just so much more ready and pumped for it.
Yeah, very much the mood across the nation, I think that will. It's been amazing to see school rugby back, and school rugby back with such a vengeance this term. Some fantastic stuff. And of course this weekend is the final weekend of the school season, really. A few teams played their last game last weekend, but for the vast majority, Saturday afternoon will be the last game of the year. So it's going to be a hugely emotional day. Some massive derby fixtures around the country.
Look, lads, both of you slipped, okay? So let's get our legs a little bit closer, please.
Teams look to sign off in style for these two, though. There could yet be much more to come this season. A trip to Twickenham, the prize at the end of the road here. Still 0-0, 10 minutes in. Another scrum, greasy day. We've seen already a high ball is a difficult one to take. That's what's given Harrow this scrum. And they stab it through. Covering across in the backfield, though, is Heaver. Tidies up nicely.
Goal line drop.
And it's a goal line dropout.
Sub, hold it there, no quick.
And I wonder,
no, you don't.
will Archie Chatwin be thinking of a cheeky drop goal in response to the goal line dropout? We've seen a couple of those at school level, at Premiership level.
I'm not saying right, this is what I'm thinking.
There's definitely plenty of potential for it.
Hold it there, lads. Just wait till your player comes on and make sure he's behind your kicks, yeah?
Early substitution for Sherborne, of course, playing. It's that half-game rule. Ollie Charles comes on in the back line. A national swimmer as well, and let me tell you, my sister was a national swimmer. That is a brutal sport. Early starts, late finishes. So we can expect plenty of energy from Charles. Sherborne's clearance is charged down there and well tidied up. by Harvey Douglas. Chapman comes in at 10. But knocked on in the tackle. Chance for Sherborne to counter if they can get the ball away cleanly. Carr Smith has it, looks wide. There's space out left for Spencer. Spencer's chasing it down and gathers. Looks to get it away and does to Will Parry. Wonderful work in support and wonderful work off the deck from Spencer. Quick ball this for Sherborne into the forwards' hands. Quick tipping. Charging through now is open side Harry Bedford. Carr Smith spins it wide, just spilled. But we'll come back, Harrow all offside. And a chance here for Sherborne to look for the first points of the game. Will, your brother there with a wonderful bit of skill down the left wing.
Yeah, I think that's just training coming off. You know, you call for it, you get it, and it works. You know, once we can, you know, get the basics right, get the ball, obviously in training, all it is just quick ball, hands, you know, find space, whether through, around or over, and then make that momentum. As you saw, we made a few breaks, and then Harrow were very much on the back foot.
Absolutely, yeah. It's precision play, a good call out on the wing, and good vision from Ollie Carr Smith, who's standing over this penalty now with the chance to give Sherborne the lead. Carr Smith, of course, whose older brother Tom skippered that side that went all the way to the semi-finals back in the 2019-20 season. Now playing with Bath and England under 20. But his brother's kick just skews wide, little slippy underfoot.
Didn't go.
Well, and it didn't quite reach, so Harrow returning the ball with interest, but the referee's going to call them back.
Back you come.
Did all look a bit strange, that.
I'll put that out to me. I apologise. Didn't think you'd be that quick. Sorry, mate.
So we'll have a 22 restart after all that.
Okay.
Bit of excitement down the far touchline.
Up to the line, not on the line. Behind him, please, lads.
And over the ball, Archie Chatwin. Left-footed, long strike. And Sherborne with a chance to counter. And Parry steps around the first and goes charging into the next two tacklers, making good ground. The Bath Academy player, whose cousin is the fly half, Ollie Carr Smith. Two of the shining lights in this Sherborne side. Parry, of course, the co-captain alongside number 8, Arthur Green.
Went back both times. Run.
Stolen now by Harrow.
Leave.
And with space in the backfield, they knock it over the top and it runs away into touch. For a brilliant net gain off the turnover for Harrow. 15 minutes in, almost a quarter of the way through this game, it remains 0-0. A real nip-tuck situation here.
That's where you put it.
In what is one of the most scenic school settings in the country.
6, Sherborne.
Harrow then to throw in through hooker Buster Wilkins. What a name that is. Aiming to go to Durham University next year. Throws it up to his open side, Angus Walker. And now the maul is on, shift the point of contact, but it's well brought down by Sherborne, managing to get the tackle in before the maul formed. So Harrow will go tight through the forwards.
Knee, move, Sherborne. Thank you, back feet with me.
Digging around for the ball, Buster Wilkins
Tackle,
takes it up.
Light blue. Dig him out, thank you.
Short again, clever little ball from Harvey Douglas, the old George Gregan they called it, but it's turned over from Sherborne. Crucial play there.
Leave. Turnover was good, and there was a knock-on by Harrow.
Buster Wilkins, what a name.
Thanks, lads.
Sherborne scrum then.
I'm always there.
About 6 or 7 metres out from their own try line after Harrow just spilled that in contact before the turnover. There's a chance to talk about our partners, Coach Logic.
Okay, take a step, please, Harrow.
Player-led analysis.
Thank you very much. Tell lads. Crouch!
Fantastic work that Coach Logic do, and you can get a £100 discount on the Coach Logic platform by using the code NextGen15. That's NextGenXV. for £100 discounts. Player-led analysis, it's really good stuff. As they say, you wouldn't do your pupils' homework for them, so why would you do their analysis for them? This way, players and coaches can work together on analysis, learning the game, learning what's going right, what's going wrong, being able to feed in their own input, as well as you, the coach, being able to feed in yours to make for an actual system where you learn rather than you just get given information. Superb platform. Sherborne put in them. Collins, the scrum half, out to Carl Smith, who has to run it from his own try line and does well. Apologies, that was Parry that was carrying it from inside his own 22. Carl Smith now with the clearing kick, finds a safe touch. Up to between the 22 and the 10-metre line.
Yeah, he's come right 2 feet right off. Okay, it's you and your tight. Wasn't intentional, but I just want you to do that for me, yeah?
And Will, it's a tight battle so far, isn't it? Very, very close.
Okay, 6 again, lads, yes.
I think obviously,
okay, so
you know, with every schoolboy-obsessed rugby player, you're always stalking the other team's results, finding any way to know what you can about them. But I think the boys are going into it quite confident. They know what they can do, and they back themselves to do it. It's all about just, you know, basics right, and then we can counter that and get them on the back foot.
Get back! Get back!
Yeah, absolutely. And so far, a very even game. And Sherborne, time and time again, are causing problems for the Harrow Maul. You can see the joy there. They know that they've so far started to be doing a number on that Maul, earning a penalty on this one as Harrow enter it from the wrong side.
You are part of the line. You can't have your birthday cake and eat it. You're either here or there.
As the referee says, you can't have your cake and eat it.
You can't be part of your defensive line and be part of the line out.
As he says, you cannot be part of the defensive line and part of the line out.
Take the line. Take the middle, lads, please. Yeah, the line's
I didn't even spot it. That's why I'm not a referee. You'll notice a few of the Harrow players have a big lion crest on their chest, and that denotes that they've got full rugby colours. It's an easy indication of a few players to look out for on the field is those ones with their big lion badge on their chest. The likes of Maro Toje and Billy Vunipola have worn that before with distinction as Sherborne get on the attack. Moving it wide to Max Dowling, trying to get on the outside and does so with some success. Gets almost up to the 22. Pick and go around the corner from Sherborne. They're making good ground here. Real scrap for the ball on the deck, but Harrow get themselves over the ball. Fantastic work from Toby Fernyhow, the lower sixth man in the second row.
Physio, keep an eye on that one for me. Holding on. Give, lads. Great kick,
In fact, as I just receive a text message with an update of some of the team names, it is in fact Kepu Tuipulotu wearing number 5 today. Switch shirts in the warm-up. And it's Tuipulotu with that crucial turnover.
Okay, what are we doing? Okay. Hold. No, it's fine.
What is certain is that it's Buster Wilkins to throw into this line-out. Harrow. Just a small delay, a little look at an injured player on the near side touchline. Gives us an opportunity to talk about tomorrow night's live stream, where we will be off to Rams Rugby in Reading to take on Shiplake College against Pangbourne College. A massive end-of-season Friday night lights game for the two of them. Should be a brilliant encounter, and Dave Rogers will be leading commentary on that one with myself alongside him. Should be good fun as Sterling in the number 8 shirt starts to march forward for Harrow. This time they get them all going. This time Sherborne with work to do to resist it. They've got the ball to the tail.
Thank you.
And Douglas hoists it high. It's going to drop just outside the 22. Difficult one for Heaver, but he takes it and gets the offload out. Now Parry with the chance to counter. Throws it wide to Ollie Spencer, who cuts back inside, looking for space up to halfway.
Leave it.
Fast fall for Sherborne, crucial here. They move it away through Parry. Out again, I think, to his inside centre. I think that was McLaughlin, whose brother was a superstar in the Sherborne colours a couple of years ago. Now on to Bedford. But a penalty, and Harrow with the crucial turnover under real pressure there as Sherborne looked to counter. All coming from the early heaver offload, and then Parry accelerating away. And I have to say, Will, Parry is looking like a very, very classy operator in that outside centre channel. Seems to have a lot of time on the ball.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, he's one of our Bath boys, along with, you know, the other co-captain, Arthur Green, Bedford, McLaughlin, and lads like those just bring the game to another level. They, you know, they lift the skill set of the team, and they overall just make the team a better one to play with. You know, as in the culture, they've got the rugby culture, but then just the skill set and the way they play the rugby is more expansive. And we can see now the Sherborne crowd beginning to form after-house matches. And I think speaking to some of the boys today, that will really lift them and, you know, help them counter with their rugby.
Massively, and it's such a part of the school community, isn't it? As that crowd builds, as the sort of younger years start to emerge onto the first team pitch, it's a bit of inspiration in a way, really, when you sort of, that's your heroes in the upper sixth that you're looking at there. You know, I remember it from my own time at school as an under 14, how exciting that is.
Yeah, absolutely. I think everyone remembers there was that Marlborough game, which we had a massive turnout, in which all the old boys came back, and I think everyone remembers that game when they were in their first year at Sherborne, and it's an inspiration to play first team any sport, you know, at the highest level for your school, and it's a further inspiration for the boys playing because they want to, you know, do the lads proud on the sideline.
100%, yeah. It's a very, very special thing. It is part of what makes schoolboy rugby such a unique event and such a special event. Sherborne then with the scrum, looking to clear their lines, and Carr Smith hoists it high, not quite as far as he would have wanted. Bounces, but it's gathered by Dowling.
Wing it now! Wing it now! No! Now play! You're in front, mate. Well played, you backed off. Wing it, well played. Thank you, mate.
And so, another
on the 22,
breathless bit of play. It'll be a Harrow throw into the line out on the 22.
6 man. Inside if you win it. Timing, wait till that ball's in the air, then come out, yeah? Yeah.
Buster Wilkins over the ball.
Stay. Good. Wait. Wait. Easy. It's still inside. Harrow's still inside. Good. It's okay.
Harrow safely bring it down and hammer it straight down the middle of the pitch. There's some space there. Heaver will look to counter though. Breaks through the first tackle, now looking for the offload, gets it to Collins. Collins now finds Douglas. He's been busy on that wing, but just spills it this time in contact. And the ball proving so difficult to keep a hold of this afternoon. The rain looks as though it's subsided, but it's left a greasy pitch and a greasy, greasy outfield. Douglas here steps inside, thinks about the offload, but it's probably just a bit too damp to get that one away. And Harrow will have a scrum. We remain 0-0, just about 10 minutes left to go as Sterling picks up from the base. He's looked a strong carrier, but he's met with force from the Sherborne back row. Arthur Green and Harry Bedford combining for a huge tackle there. And Sherborne have to escape from the edge of their own 22 again. Douglas fires that one straight into touch and will be coming back almost to the 22 for a Harrow line-out, but what a tackle there from the Sherborne back row.
Yeah, that was massive. And, you know, I played a bit of seconds rugby this term, and one of the worst things you could do is play touch rugby against the first team, because in essence it's not touch rugby. You just get absolutely pummeled going in for touch. But just the physicality of the lads, you see it around the school. It's unbelievable. You know, these small lads you grew up with in third form are now monsters. You know, they dwarf you.
Yeah, the size of schoolboy rugby players these days is quite something to behold. As is the skill, though. Look at the passing as it goes through the hands here. And now Parry decides not to give that one because he spotted a bit of a gap. Making inroads into the Harrow half. Carl Smith looks for the dummy. He's met by the Harrow back row en masse there. Spencer just about stays in field. College. By the way, speaking of strong players, College apparently lifting the heaviest amount in the gym despite being the scrum half in this Sherborne side, as Green almost gets through the line. Well hung onto by the Harrow tacklers there. Douglas carrying once more on the right-hand side. How busy has he been? There's that man College, the heavy lifter. Carl Smith stabs one through. Difficult bouncing ball just about dealt with by Charlie Cross. As the rain comes down once again, it's absolutely pouring all of a sudden. Body slipping and sliding everywhere, the ball bouncing this way and that. And Harrow look to clear their lines. Well, I didn't think I'd have to say this, but I will find out what happens if this ends up 0-0. I'll let you know who goes through in that eventuality. Surely someone's going to score, though. Still in the first half. We don't need to worry about that yet.
6 called, lads. Half for 6. 6. No, 6 in.
7 minutes left to play then. This is where the bulk of the game has been played, between the sort of 10-metre lines. A lot of line-outs in this position. Been difficult for either side, really, to get into the 22. Difficult to think of too many real sort of try-scoring opportunities. Well, there's not been a lot of play in those attacking areas.
Well, I think as, you know, there have been a few breaks made, and obviously into the second half as players get more tired, those, you know, half chances will turn into real chances, which will be able to be converted. Just quickly turned over the ball. For example, like now, as we switch it out wide with Will Parry, who's massive bump from him, which prompts a massive roar from the crowd, which will only drive the boys on. But like I was saying, as the second half goes on, boys get tireder. You know, I think that those half chances will turn into chances, and you've just got to convert them.
100%, yeah. And as you say, that huge bump off in the tackle from Parry. Look at that, right in front of the crowd. If there was a way to G up both the crowd and the players, it was that right there. And Sherborne, well, as you said, turning the ball over there, and that's been a feature whenever it's looked like Harrow are looking to set up a big play. Sherborne have managed to get the turnover in, poach a line out, cause an error on the floor. They're really proving a big thorn in the side for Harrow, and they are at that scrum as well. Spilled but regathered nicely by Chapman at 10. Really is difficult out there, but over the ball is that man Parry again. Been the leading light in this game so far, and he gets the turnover and gives Carl Smith a shot at the sticks again. And the way this game is going, every single point is going to matter. So Carl Smith quite right with a fairly central kick to look towards the sticks. Look at that from Parry, straight over the ball, hands all over it, clearly trying to rip it clear. And the referee quite rightly awarding Parry the penalty. And the outside centre is living up to every bit of the billing this afternoon. And by the way, a little snippet about Parry. The Lambs, who many of you will know, sort of invitational side, like to play barbarian style rugby. Well, they have an under-11 side. And Will Parry and Arthur Green the co-captains of this Sherborne side, starred for them as under-11s. And here they are on one of the biggest stages in schoolboy rugby, playing together this afternoon. But his cousin Carr Smith can't quite land the penalty. Stays at 0-0. That one drifting wide. It is so difficult out there. Crucially, though, with things as they are, territory is what counts, and so a 22 restart is no bad outcome for Sherborne.
Get behind your kicker, please, lads. Thank you, Harrow.
More likely than not to get the ball back. And they do. Carr Smith collects, hoists it high for Douglas to chase. It's going to land just outside the 22. That's beautifully positioned by Carr Smith. And Sherborne on the attack. It was spilled under the high ball. Such is the greasiness out there. And Sherborne on the drive into the 22, but it's going nowhere according to the referee, so we'll come back for the scrum. And a first real attacking platform for Sherborne. A scrum down. Or is it a scrum? Perhaps a penalty.
Knocked on by Harrow, it wasn't played, and you tackled. Number 11, get back. It's a penalty. It's a penalty.
It is a penalty.
You were offside.
Number 11.
Was never retreating after a knock on.
And Sully was in front of the ball when it came to him, so Sherborne with the opportunity to pump it up towards the try line, and they'll have a line out about 8 or 9 meters out, and this is a massive attacking opportunity. What do you say, Will? Keep it tight and drive, or look to go wide? They have looked threatening out wide.
I do see an option out wide, but conditions-wise, you want to keep ball, maybe go a few forwards phases, and then drag it out wide as they chuck it in. Knocked on by Harrow, but yeah, I just think a forwards ball, just drive through.
As you say, knocked on by Harrow, but regathered by Sherborne, so they have the scrum advantage. Carr Smith now takes it to the line, dances through the first tackle, but he's hit brilliantly on the cover. Charging through. Sherborne working so hard. Can they get that crucial score just over a minute before the break? This would be a perfect time to score. Creeping towards the line. Collins itching to get the ball, and does. I didn't think he was going to get that. Carr Smith looks wide. It's out there for Parry. Parry over the line, and Sherborne have the lead in this quarter-final. They worked oh so hard for it. The work from the forwards in tight. And then Collins got the ball, gave it to Carr Smith, who threw the wide pass to Parry. And well, once the ball was in that man's hands, there was nothing else coming but the try. Carr Smith flings it out, and Parry, well, I don't think there's many wingers in the school game that are stopping him from that kind of range, are there?
No, and that, like I said, it'll just through the forwards, and then as the space opens up out wide, you know, get it out there to, you know, Will Parry, who's, like you said, not many people are going to stop him. And I think that this could be a massive moment in the game, especially as it's been quite tight so far. Points have been quite hard to come by. And with a growing crowd and confidence, takes a kick, which he slots for an extra 2 points.
He does indeed, and that takes us to half-time. Carr Smith, well, when it really counted from the touchline, he banged over the extras. Sherborne lead at half-time, 7-0 in this Under-18 Schools Cup quarter-final. Harrow with hard work to do. It's a tight one, this. 0-0 right up until the final play of the half. And then it was that man, Will Parry, with the try to give his side the half-time lead.
Introducing NextGenXV, the new home of school rugby.
Well, where does this come from?
Covering everything the school game has to offer in both the north and southern hemispheres.
Oh, that's a great tackle! It's not good enough. 1-2, skip a few, and with the wheels.
Highlighting tomorrow's stars, Next Gen 15 will be bringing you live games and a regular update of all the news and in-depth views on the global game.
What a kick! Where did he come from and how did that happen?
All your school rugby, all in one place. This is Next Gen 15.
So you join us again with Sherborne 7-0 up here at half-time in this under-18 Schools Cup quarter-final against Harrow. Harrow with one of the finest records in all of school rugby this season. But at the moment, they've got a bit of a fight back on their hands. 7-0 might not seem like a lot, but in the conditions this afternoon, it is an awful lot. We were 0-0 right up until the 34th minute of this first half, but in the final play, Sherborne with a crucial try, and it was their co-captain Will Parry that got it. Carr Smith, the fly half, flung the ball out to him, and Parry got on the outside, and as we've seen him do so many times already this afternoon, bumping off the tackle to create a soft shoulder and getting across the try line for a crucial score for Sherborne. As it stands, they are going through to the under-18 Schools Cup semi-finals. They got there the last time this competition was held. Can they hold on to get there again? Well, Harrow will be hoping not. Barnard Castle already safely through. They'll be watching this with interest, as will Kirkham and Bedford, who meet tomorrow, and then Trinity and Berkhamsted meeting in the last of the quarterfinals on Tuesday afternoon, and that will be live here on Next Gen 15 as well. We are just waiting for a referee in order to start this second half. He's been keeping himself warm and dry during the half-time break. And Carr Smith, poaching an extra yard, kicks us off for the second half, and it's well gathered by Harrow, who look to attack through Thiel, the inside centre. He's made a bit of ground there, but sideways mainly, as vice-captain Harvey Douglas looks to box kick. Sends it long to Archie McKenzie. Now Parry onto Heaver. Heaver been really good so far today in making those good yards on the counter-attack. Carr Smith to McLaughlin. Out now to Lucas Gardner.
Use it.
Sherborne looking to attack round the fringes, but Harrow turn it into a maul, and that one's going nowhere, so it'll be a Harrow put in, and a big moment that for Harrow. In these conditions, in a game of this meaning, all of those little moments add on extra significance. They just give you a lift when you're feeling like things are going against you. And you can see what it means to the big number 8, Ollie Sterling, the London Irish man, And we've seen what a dominant ball carrier he is already this afternoon, and with a big blindside to attack, as you can see on your screens. Sterling could well pick up from the base here. It's scrappy ball though. Instead, blind goes Douglas. Just snagged, he was nearly away, the dummy, and then he went. He's back on his feet now, feeding the back line. Thiel making half a break, getting the offload away. Thiel having a big influence early on in this second half. Couple of carries now as Douglas sends the ball into space. Heaver goes scampering back to tidy up. Almost slips as he looks to evade the defence. And on the charge, with a big introduction, Archie McKenzie.
No, that's gone. For what, anyway?
Few subs have been brought on at half-time for both sides. Looking to ring the changes, keep things fresh. Harrow on the counter. It's good work from Charlie Cross, evades the first two tacklers. Douglas looks wide. Hugo Anderson in possession. Another who had a Cambridge interview this week, but it's turned over by Sherborne and then returned over by Harrow, and then Sherborne come in round the side in their desperation to tidy that one up, giving Harrow the penalty chance. And on the halfway line, they will look to pump it wide.
Two good jackals. Okay, no problem.
Fantastic clearing kick from Harrow, brings them into the 22. And really, for the first time since quite early on in the first half, Harrow have an opportunity to get on the attack here. It's been that kind of an afternoon.
Sherborne 6. Who's my 9? Who's my 9? You. Okay, cool.
Harrow, side with plenty of attacking talent if they can manage to find some space. On the dry grounds in September, they scored 100 points in their opening 2 games. But we can certainly say this is not a game where that sort of thing is going to be happening. This is a proper dogfight, a proper cup tie, as Sherborne clear their lines. Touchlines packed on both sides. You can tell this is schoolboy rugby at its finest. A huge cup tie. Key here, Will, I'd imagine for Sherborne at half-time they would have been talking about, can we make sure we get through the first sort of 10 minutes without conceding anything, see if we can just hold that lead for a while, put the pressure on by being in front.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously they've got the 7 points up. The aim is to keep on top, keep the fitness there, keep Harrow at bay, and then as you know, the second half continues and teams get more tired, the crowd conditions get on their side and they win penalties like this, which further motivate them, up their confidence, and hopefully lead them to victory.
And as you're saying that, that crowd whips itself up with Harrow getting turned over in the maul by Sherborne. They get themselves in there as that green that had worked his way in. And the crowd go bananas as that comes down. And look at the faces of the Sherborne forwards. They are bang up for this.
Ball's gone. Ball onside.
Carl Smith goes long. Spilled in the air by Walid and Suli. Tricky one to take for him. The ball is so greasy. And Suli getting a bit from the crowd there, but he's an interesting chap, is old Walid and Suli. Part of the Jess under-14s sevens side from Dubai that competed at Rossum Park National School Sevens back in, I think it was 2018 now. But they faced Harrow in the final of that under-14 tournament at Rosslyn Park. Harrow won that day, but Nsuli impressed that much that here he is in a Harrow shirt in a Schools Cup quarter-final as an under-17 rather. Quite the story for Walid Nsuli. And his side back in possession with the line out. The crowd on that far side really starting to build. Harrow bring it down safely. Sterling at the tail of them all. Gives it to Buster Wilkins. Wilkins now releases his scrum half now onto the back line. Chatwin though is met by a wall of defence and has to take it in himself. So Douglas does the only thing available to him and clears his lines. And what a thundering tackle coming in from Charlie Cross. Those kind of moments are going to be the moments that make or break this game, as the ball was out at the back with Collins looking to clear his lines, but just about tidied up as Harrow came flooding through. So Carr Smith looks to kick. Well claimed by Heaver. That was a tricky one and a delightful offload from the Sherborne fullback. But turned over by Tua Pelotu. The London Irish under-16. His second crucial intervention on the floor today.
Just stop appealing all the time. That's all I want. If it's genuine, I don't mind.
And it's been all Harrow really so far in this second half. The men in blue really looking to counter, as we see here. Tua Pelotu makes the initial hit on Heaver, who gets that brilliant offload away. But then Tua Pelotu stays alive, helps make the next tackle, and then gets over the ball. Look at that strong body position, and with those legs, no one is moving him. Tricky little spell this for Sherborne, isn't it? Will, they've got to get through this while Harrow sort of dominate possession early on.
Yeah, and I think this was exactly what you're talking about. What would the coaches say at half-time? It's all about these first 10-15 minutes of the second half that we, got to maintain this lead, get the crowd on your back, with obviously the crowd getting more and more hostile as it comes. But I think this is the most a massive game in the moment, as Sherborne need to defend and then have the counter and have the patience to take their opportunities and convert their chances.
And that is what this game is all going to be about over the course of the next 25 minutes or so. It's going to be a game of patience for both sides here. There are not going to be many scores in it. And on very little moments like that may this game hinge. Harrow missing their touch, the ball going dead. So we will restart.
You need to put your flag up there, mate.
Oh, no. I take it back. An errant touch judge flag was the issue there. We will, in fact, come for a 5-metre line-out. Sherborne thought they'd escaped there, I think.
It's all right. It'll be on camera afterwards, and then we can all talk about it. So let's get on with it.
As the referee says, it's all on camera. We'll work out if it went dead or not at a later date.
Yes, thank you.
Meantime, Buster Wilkins, when all said and done, will be throwing into this line-out, and it's a huge opportunity for Harrow. 5-metre line-out. They get it down safely, but Sherborne get a good drive on. They are so up for this, the Sherborne pack. Sterling fighting to get it back, spilled, knocked on, and Sherborne survive that moment. And they are so up for this, a huge, huge moment. Harrow with the 5-metre line out, but Sherborne with the huge, huge counter maul. And then Harrow spilled it. Sherborne had the scrum and then a bit of chat. Gives Sherborne the penalty and a chance to escape, and escape they do.
And I think that's exactly what Sherborne want to do. The character of these lads, massive D, to knock them back and then therefore win the ball back and get their own counter-attack on. And it's just those moments where, you know, Harrow, they have a line out within R22, and we can win that and take the momentum with us.
Yeah, and as you spoke about earlier, that crowd is getting bigger and bigger, and you can see the way that it's feeding into the players on the field. Every moment now being celebrated like they've won the match.
That's okay, we're 5.
Harrow's job at this point, as Sherborne just spilled that one, Harrow's job at the moment is to counter that by feeding off the crowd. Almost that Wimbledon crazy gang back in the late 80s, early 90s. No one likes us, we don't care. That's got to be the Harrow mantra in the face of the home crowd this afternoon as they search for their semi-final spot.
Crouch! Stand up, lads, stand up, stand up, stand up. Listen, it's your space, okay?
Bit of argy-bargy at the scrum. Quick mention to our partners, Coach Logic. You can get £100 off their services with the code NextGen15. That's NextGenXV. It's player-led analysis. Players and coaches can interact on any old clip on Coach Logic. Superb platform. Helps the players learn and understand what they're doing, what they could be doing, and what they can do better. And for coaches, a good opportunity to assess what's happening both on and off the field in terms of their players' thinking. On the field here, it's another big moment for Sherborne. And Arthur Green, the co-captain, Harrow on the attack, but Green getting himself over the ball. Carl Smith can clear his lines. Well, 3 big moments in succession for Sherborne. And with each moment, the crowd goes wild. But look how early Green is there, and alongside him is Harry Bedford. The 2 back row men working in unison, and there was simply no shifting them. And this really, Sherborne's first chance for a bit of proper possession in this second half, and it's nearly 15 minutes old. As the crowd come flying in with their songs. Felix Northover throws in, it's safely gathered and out to the back line. Carl Smith pops it off. Fast ball is it for Sherborne? Yes. Come back the short side, but it's just popped forward. And in their enthusiasm to get on the outside of the Harrow defence, they just lost that ball forward. And in the end, after all that, it's a scrum almost where the line-out was. See it here, the idea was there, the numbers were available, but the little pop over the top, just drifting forward as the tackles came in. So difficult to control those ones. Harrow looked to use the back line, stabbed through by Chatwin. Heaver though gathers and looks wide. Down the right, Max Dowling. Carl Smith feeds it into the midfield. They're met with a vengeance by the Harrow defence. Ball bobbling about now. Goes backwards though, says the referee. So Carl Smith with slow ball, looked to kick, but he's caught brilliantly by Max Ferreira from Harrow. And now Harrow have turned it over and are on the front foot. Scrappy play out there at the moment. Douglas pops it off to Sterling. They're playing with penalty advantage. Harrow with the penalty. And the question now, do they stick or twist? Do they go for the penalty shot at goal, or do they go wide? What do you reckon, Will?
Well, as the referee just said, they've only played 16 minutes, and I think, you know, there's more than ample enough time, especially with the momentum slightly being with Harrow at the moment. I think you've got to stick with points, get them on the board, so that, you know, if you get a last-minute try in the corner, you're then comfortable not making a conversion. But I think this could be a massive moment in the game if they're able to get this, because Sherborne will need to score again if they want to be comfortable, and therefore will have to up the ante.
You're a man after my own heart, Will. If points are available, take them, always. And lining it up, there's that man, Wellington College. Trotted across from his left wing. With the chance to bring Harrow within a score. Takes his time. Respectful hush falls over Sherborne. And Nsuli bangs it over. Harrow reduced the deficit to 7-3 in this Under-18 Schools Cup quarter-final. It's been all Harrow in this second half, but the opportunities for points have been limited. They're going to need another couple as it stands. Under the high ball then from the restart is Sterling, and he is no stranger to a carry, and he takes it charging up to the Sherborne chase. Giving Chatwin a good chance to clear his lines. Sends it down the throat though, and that's Green that was waiting in the backfield. Ships it into Heaver, who ships it across to Parry. We've already seen what a threat he is. Instead, he dabs it on the left foot, scuds it in for the 50-22 by inches. And Will Parry, well, he had the moment of the match with the try. He's just about had another one with a superb kick. Stunning bit of play from Parry there.
Well, that just shows the quality of him. Just, you know, to pick it up in his own half and then to hit it there. Just, you know, we've got our own line out, and this is a try opportunity out of almost nothing.
Brilliant kick from Parry. And well, they say fortune favours the brave, doesn't it? That was certainly brave, and the spinning, sliding nature of the ball just took it the right side of the flag. And Sherborne, with that 50-22 rule, will have the throw into the line out. They go to the middle, it's just claimed. They get the ball back, the maul's going. Comes to deck now.
Okay, he is rolling, he's fine. It's a penalty.
But Harrow earned the penalty. And from perilous situations on their own try line, they have the opportunity to clear. And on such moments do games like this hinge. Could that be crucial come the end of the game? Been a fantastic week of schoolboy rugby here at NextGen15. On Wednesday, we had 2 live streams, the Under-18 Vars, where we saw Reading Bluecoat with a dramatic win against Wellington County Grammar. And then in the evening kickoff in the Schools Plate, we saw Henley College get themselves into the semi-finals with a defeat of Caterham. But here on Thursday afternoon, it's the Under-18 Schools Cup quarter-final with Sherborne and Harrow. Sherborne leading 7-3, and Sherborne on the charge. Skipper Arthur Green getting an offload away to put his side on the front foot. Then they're battling their way around the fringes. Collins back to Green, emerging more and more of a force in this game as the rain and the mud start to flow. His back row partner Bedford steps up, but again it's the Harrow turnover, and again it's Tuipulotu. His third huge turnover in this game, and once again, for the second time in a couple of minutes, Sherborne on the attack, but they can't get through. The penalty comes. And Harrow just about clear their lines. And we'll have another Sherborne throw-in. Still in a fairly decent attacking position, though. Although it looks as though it was touched in flight, so Harrow, in fact...
Come on, here we come. Okay.
I'm an idiot, in fact. It was a penalty, as I was explaining. Long and the short of it is Buster Wilkins will throw in for Harrow. To the tail with Sterling. And now Wilkins back on.
You're in front. He's a tackler.
But truck and trailer. It's going to be a penalty, Sherborne, and the ref's going to have a quick word. In the meantime, I'll have a quick word with Will. Will, two big opportunities there for Sherborne. Harrow got the turnover on both of them. Now potentially a third opportunity for Sherborne. It's going to be crucial to take one of these, you feel, in this game of such fine margins.
Yeah, I think with them still coming, and obviously we've got a penalty kick, which I believe is we're going to go for the post, which therefore means Harrow need a converted score to draw. I think these are the opportunities that we need to counter upon, we need to take in order to allow ourselves some sort of comfort playing in the final 10 minutes where realistically it all happens.
Absolutely. It's a tricky kick, this one, for Carr Smith, with the wet, muddy pitch. But we saw him with that touchline conversion from the try. This time, well, he strikes it hard, but not quite accurately enough. Harrow opting to run it out from behind their own try line, and then Chatwin clears long, but he's kicked it to the danger man, Parry. And Parry turns on the afterburners. It's a huge carry into midfield, but it's a huge tackle too. Forces him to spill the ball. And Oliver Newell controls it for Harrow. Chatwin now stabs it through. There is a bit of space behind the defence. Well covered in the end by Dowling, who slides out into touch. The tension here around the ground is absolutely palpable. Look at this though, Parry on the charge. And it's Sterling who manages to get himself low, dislodge the ball. A battle of two very fine players there, Parry and Sterling. Parry having a huge game so far, but Sterling proving equal to him there. And Sterling it is with the ball at the back, gives it to his hooker, Buster Wilkins. Harrow just start to get a nudge on. It's been an interesting contest, them all, but as they start marching forward, they give it to the back line. Perhaps they should have kept it in there because it's been spilled. Sherborne can't quite get the counter-attack going. We'll have a scrum on halfway. (7-3) Sherborne lead Harrow in this under-18 Schools Cup quarter-final. And Harrow, you see there, they were on the move going forward. Opted to give it to the backs, who perhaps weren't quite expecting it with the forward pack making such ground. So we come back for the scrum. Sherborne put in. This is a brilliant attacking platform for them. Bang in the middle of the pitch. A huge blindside for Green to attack if he wants to. And on the open side of the field here, the left-hand side, you've got Carr Smith and Parry, two of the big danger men, lined up next to each other. On the right-hand side, Cassius McLaughlin, another of the Bath under-18 players. Another of the superstars in this Sherborne side, with a brother playing top-level rugby. We've spoken about Carr Smith's older brother, Tom. But McLaughlin's older brother, Lorcan, is strutting his stuff over at Ulster these days. And that 10, 12, 13 combination. Superb rugby players themselves, but with some superb relatives playing the game as well. Parry, though, on the charge, evades the first tackle, evades the second. Parry just tackled into touch, but he is such a threat this afternoon. Will Parry almost single-handedly taking Sherborne from inside their own half to 10 metres away from Harrow's try line. And we see here off the set play, they look straight to him from Carr Smith, and Parry just sees off the first tackle, sees off the second. Sadly for him, Mackenzie just slipped as he was looking to give the offload, rather forced Parry's hand into trying to take the cover on the outside. And the cover do their job, take him into touch.
Sorry, buddy, sorry.
Harrow need an accurate line out here, though. Under pressure in their own 22, but it's well gathered by Toby Fernyhough. And Buster Wilkins busting tackles, storming out of the 22, giving Chatwin a chance to look deep. Tidied up by Dowling, though, who gets it away, and Parry again is on the charge. He is doing so much work this afternoon. Carl Smith now drops it onto the boot. There's space in behind. So Harrow look to tidy it up. Chatwin with that left boot of his, sending it down, but Heaver tidies up. Carl Smith now out to Parry. Parry this time gives it onto Lucas Gardner, who's just snaffled. Green plays scrum half, opts to kick. Perhaps may not do so again. Charlie Cross with the chance to counter for Harrow. Gets himself up to the 10-metre line, evading this tackle and that, eventually hauled down. Does well to get the ball back under pressure as Ferreira takes it in. Harrow looking to get a few phases together. Douglas feeds Chatwin on to Buster Wilkins. Out wide now to Hugo Anderson. In space, but now he's a bit isolated. Green gets over it, and there is going to be no shifting. Green, unless the referee tells him to move, which he does. So it's his opposite man, Sterling, on the charge now. Harrow stringing together those phases. Wilkins gives it again on to Thale. Douglas finds Chatwin, who looks wide now to Cross. Cross, a couple of good runs from him now.
Okay, hold it there. You're legal. Play it down. Penalty.
And we come back for a Harrow penalty. And by the look of things, a bit of cramp for Sherborne setting in. It's been a tough old game, pretty constant stuff this. And by the looks of it, a fairly energy-sapping pitch too.
Yeah, it's just sticky wicket time, English weather. But it is what it is. You've got to go through the forwards and then see if you can pull it out back, you know, with your scrum halves, fly halves and centres. But it's all about getting the basics right. You've got to, you know, be able to keep the ball, not do too many stupid offloads, not force it. I think unforced errors are the point in which both teams could, you know, lose this game. But I think it's being able to get the ball, keep it simple, and then when needed, quickly, and, you know, with all the offloads.
Well, with about 6 minutes left on the clock, a Harrow line out on the 22. Are we in for some late drama? This cup competition is well known for its dramatic finishes.
Number 8, give please in line. Thank you, buddy. Cheers, mate.
Will it be glory for Sherborne?
Give number 2.
Or will Harrow come back and break the home side's hearts? Well, things looking Sherborne's way at the moment. 7-3 lead, and the Harrow line out a bit squint, giving Sherborne a scrum on their own 22. The Sherborne cries ring out across the ground.
No. Give.
Touchlines absolutely surrounded now. The young lads back from their house matches in full kit. They didn't want to waste a second getting down here. No tracksuits or showers or any of that. Just get straight down to the first team pitch. And I'll tell you what, why not? We are in a mammoth battle here between Sherborne and Harrow. Schools Cup quarter-final. Big scrum from Harrow, but just about tidied up by Sherborne, who look expansive here. Couple of offloads, 3-4 offloads. Now Heaver darting this way and that. Another offload in treacherous conditions with the game on the line. This is incredibly brave play from Sherborne, and now they look wide. McLaughlin looks to his captain Green. Green and co-captain Parry lining up next to each other. Taken into contact by Green, cleared out by Parry. Collins feeds his forwards. Sensational bravery from Sherborne in their own 22. Now they look to clear their lines. Carl Smith spotting some space in the Harrow 22. Bouncing around. They won't want to touch that down though, I don't think. Or they do. And I think we'll be back for a goal line dropout.
Goal line? Yeah.
And the reason I say I don't think they'll want to touch that down as a goal line dropout is a very tricky situation, as we've learned over the last couple of months, from which to extricate yourself from your own territory.
4 on the clock.
Chatwin gets the ball away, and Carl Smith goes to the drop goal. Drifts wide, but that is what we're talking about. The goal line dropout is such a threatening position to be in. Oh, that would have been spectacular.
I'll be honest, I did not see that coming. You would have thought Carl Smith would have told us times and times if he was going to do that. But how good would that have been?
The lesson there is do not kick to the fly half on a goal line dropout. 22 restart though, spilled by Harrow, so Sherborne on the attack. Carl Smith just spilled by Harry Bedford. And it's that spill there that was what made it so brave that Sherborne were playing that offloading game from inside their own 22. It is treacherous out there. It is so greasy. Look at this. We see, wasn't Heaver. I was giving Heaver the credit actually, but it was Lucas Gardner, the blind side, that got himself on the move and got the offload away on that far touchline. And we saw Sherborne going wide through the hands. McLaughlin out to his skipper Green, and we had Green and Parry looking to create something, but in the end Green forced to take it into contact. As Sherborne rings out, the volume has been turned up here. 3 minutes left to go. Sherborne with the lead, 7 points to 3 against Harrow.
Okay, you know what? Listen, I've talked to you twice. Again, it's a free kick.
If Sherborne can hold out here, this will be a huge win for them. Harrow, one of the best teams in the country this year, and they've been producing superstar players year after year. They had 6 players involved in the Saracens London Irish game the other day. That's the sort of level of player they've been churning out. That's the sort of level of player they've got in their ranks at the moment. But today, the Sherborne players so far standing up to the challenge. And with time ticking away, it's going to be all about field position in these final few moments. Harrow have the scrum put in, but they're a long way from the Sherborne try line, and they need a try if they're going to win this game. Sherborne get the nudge on, but Douglas has the ball available to play. Chatwin out the back to Anderson. Anderson breaks the first tackle, but then he's hauled down. Penalty advantage, Harrow. They have the penalty. Easy yardage for the North London side.
No, I'll tell you when. Yeah, keep going. No, quick.
The second 15 and third 15 for Harrow, both unbeaten this season. And this first 15 have only lost 1 game. Can they avoid losing a second? If they are to, they have just a minute left on the clock. Sherborne giving it absolutely everything at the moment. Safely gathered by Harrow, but Sherborne get the nudge on in the maul.
Keep it moving, please. Keep it moving.
Buster Wilkins at the tail, and now Harrow start to make some ground. Douglas tells his man to stay in. Now they break. Isolated though from the break as Carl Smith looked to turn it over, couldn't quite do it. Harrow looked left, cutting back in though. Comes Mansuli. Sterling now on the carry. Harrow playing through the phases. It's all about no error count at this point. Green thought he had a bite there, but pulled back safely on hearing the referee's call. Offloaded off the deck brilliantly by Thale. Ball available, Sherborne turn it over.
The ball is here. It wasn't out. It's a scrum, Harrow.
Confusion reigns. Referee having a bit of a disagreement about where the ball was. As we see here, Harrow kept the ball in field despite the player being dragged out. He left the ball behind. Touch judge flagged, got himself mixed up. So we restart with a Harrow scrum, and what an opportunity it is for Harrow. Scrum on the 22, the whole of the left-hand side of the field to play with. Sterling has it as his feet. Douglas feeds his fly half, Chatwin, who gives it to Thale. Sterling now, he is getting through a mountain of work in these closing stages as Newell takes it on, and Sterling again, but it's spilled in contact by Newell, and it's all over. Sherborne are into the Schools Cup semi-finals. A sensational turnaround from them. 7-3 victors against Harrow. A result few would have predicted outside of this Dorset town, but it's Sherborne who've done it. That Will Parry try in the first half, giving them a 7-3 victory over Harrow, inflicting only the second defeat of the season on Harrow, and Sherborne will join Barnard Castle in the semi-finals of this Schools Cup. Will, what a sensational victory for Sherborne.
Oh, that's absolutely class for the lads. You could see all the boys running over, you know, to get involved with them, and that's everything they wanted. I mean, you know, repeating what happened 2 years ago, getting into the National Cup semi-final with a chance at Twickenham. I think, you know, the boys have really done themselves proud today, and they deserve it.
Absolutely, and as you rightly say, the crowd from the far side flooding around to this near side touchline in order to clap their victorious heroes off the field. Every one of those under 14s and 15s that have come charging over to this pitch, they've got a chance to clap their heroes off. A word to Harrow, who dug in magnificently. It was all them for much of the second half, but Sherborne clung on, hung on, crucial turnovers from the likes of Arthur Green, the number 8, but it was Will Parry, the outside centre and co-captain alongside Green, who was the star of the show. It was his try in that first half that put his team in front and ultimately gave them the win. It was his kick, the 50-22, that really ended the Harrow assault, turning them around and putting field position into Sherborne hands, and it was that really, really meant that Harrow could not turn the deficit around on a really wet, miserable afternoon here in Dorset, but it won't feel like that for the men in sky blue. They're through to the under-18 Schools Cup semi-finals. The question is, who will be joining them? Barnard Castle are already there, we know. Kirkham Grammar School and Bedford looking to join them, and then on Tuesday, Trinity and Berkhamsted again in front of our cameras. Details of that to follow. Which of those players will be joining them as the referee runs off to cheers? Everyone getting cheers from this Sherborne crowd. Magnificent stuff here. The volume is absolutely pumping. An astonishing result for Sherborne. I don't think it's too much of a stretch to say that they were not the favourites heading into this one, but they have performed at a level that just shows what a quality side they are. They perform on the most challenging of circuits. The likes of Millfield and Clifton College they have to face regularly, hardening them up for this battle. And what a cup run this has been for Sherborne. Colston's the cup legends first taken down, then King's Taunton, then Ivybridge, that tricky old place to go, and then on Saturday Canford, and now a huge moment as they beat Harrow 7-3. Will, thank you so much for joining us up here. It's been such a pleasure to get your insides, your brother out there, the boys all doing the job for you, the crowd below chanting your name. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you very much for having me. It's been amazing to be on, and you know, it just shows what absolute shift everyone here's put in. The lads, the crowd, they've just absolutely done themselves proud.
And to anyone who thinks that schoolboy rugby doesn't matter, just look at these scenes. That is what it's all about. That is why schoolboy rugby is something that has to be protected. It means so much to every single person, not just in the shirt, but to every single person in the school. This is the very foundation of school community and of rugby community as well. This is really where the game is at. It's heartbreak for Harrow as James Melville, their head coach, just talks them through it. It's been a proud season for the North London side. They've performed so well all year, but in the end, just a hurdle too far for them as they finish up their season. For Sherborne, the season lives on. They will go to the Schools Cup semi-finals. They got there in 2020. It'll be 2022 when they play their semi-final. Can they go one better? Well, you better believe they think they can. And this was the defining moment in the game. Collins to Carr Smith, out to Parry, and Parry, well, he was the star of the afternoon, wasn't he? Showing guile and power to get himself across the line. And the Bath outside centre doing the job for the Sky Blues. His cousin, the man that gave him the ball. Parry, the man to score. Someone put him in an England under-18 shirt. I tell you, he needs to. As it is, though, we wrap up here at Sherborne, this under-18 Schools Cup quarter-final. An absolutely brilliant encounter. 7-3, Sherborne won out over Harrow. It didn't feel like a 7-3, though. What a game. What a team. They'll be back in March. We'll be back tomorrow night with Shiplake College against Pangbourne College. 7 p.m. kickoff. Do join us live. Until then, goodbye.
Introducing NextGenXV, the new home of school rugby.
Well, where does this come from?
Covering everything the school game has to offer in both the north and southern hemispheres.
Oh, that's a great tackle! It's not good enough. 1-2, skip a few and with the wheels.
Highlighting tomorrow's stars, NextGen15 will be bringing you live games and a regular update of all the news and in-depth views on the global game.
What's a kick? Well, where did he come from and how did that happen?
All your school rugby, all in one place. This is NextGen15.
Go!